This is Bloodsport, Double Impact, Enter the Dragon. Huge star.
Bruce Lee, the Dragon, carried speed and spirit like fire itself. Bolo Yeung, the Iron Body, carried strength forged through discipline and pain. Together, they formed a rare balance, flow and power, water and stone. Yet their meeting was not written in myths or born from destiny. It happened in the raw world of cinema, where ambition and struggle carved legends. Bruce was already a flame seen across the world.
I want to make a toast to Bolo Yeung and his family.
While Bolo was still in the shadows, waiting for his moment. When their paths finally crossed, it was more than collaboration. It was a spark that reshaped martial arts forever. The early path of Bolo Yeung. Bolo Yeung's story begins far from the bright lights of cinema. He was born in Guangzhou, China, in 1946, to a modest family. His father worked as a businessman, while his mother cared for the home. From a very young age, Bolo felt drawn to movement. At just 4 years old, he became fascinated by Kung Fu, watching older boys practice in the courtyards of his neighborhood. By the time he turned 10, he was training seriously under local martial arts teachers. His body responded quickly to discipline. He wasn't only interested in combat, he also loved acrobatics, using his natural agility to twist and flip with ease. Soon after, he discovered weightlifting. Unlike many children his age, Bolo enjoyed testing the limits of his strength. As the years passed, his devotion only grew. He built his body into a symbol of power, balancing muscle with grace. In time, his efforts paid off when he earned recognition in powerlifting competitions across China. He became known not just as a fighter, but as someone who fused strength and martial skill into something rare and unforgettable. Escape and reinvention in Hong Kong. The 1960s were turbulent years in China. Political unrest and constant upheaval left many young men searching for a way out. Bolo was one of them. He longed for freedom, for a chance to grow beyond the limits of his homeland. With little more than his determination and his body as his weapon, he made a daring decision to leave everything behind and swim across dangerous waters to Hong Kong. It was a journey of risk and uncertainty. He arrived with no money, no family connections, and no clear path forward. What he did have was his strength. To survive, he searched tirelessly for work. His impressive build caught the attention of gym owners, and soon he found employment as a fitness trainer. In those gyms, Bolo continued shaping himself, both as a martial artist and as a man. He pushed iron, trained with discipline, and earned respect. This new chapter was the foundation of everything that would follow in his remarkable journey. From Shaw Brothers to the silver screen. Hong Kong in the late 1960s was alive with cinema. Martial arts films were growing fast, and the Shaw Brothers studio stood at the center of it all. For Bolo, the gym became more than a workplace. It became a doorway. His powerful frame and sharp presence soon caught the eye of a film agent, and he was offered a small part in an action movie. Though the role was minor, it gave him a taste of a new world. Audiences noticed his unusual size and commanding look, traits rare among Chinese actors at the time. Directors quickly realized he was perfect for the role of a villain. For Bolo, this meant opportunity, even if it also meant being typecast. He embraced the challenge, learning the craft of acting with the same dedication he gave to training. In each role, he carried more than muscle. He added expression, presence, and menace, qualities that made his villains unforgettable and pushed him further into the world of film. Meeting Bruce Lee. Fate brought Bolo Yeung and Bruce Lee together in the early 1970s. At that time, Bruce was already on the rise, his name spreading far beyond Asia. Bolo, still building his path, was known more for his strength than his fame. Their first encounter happened during the filming of The Way of the Dragon, and it was not just a meeting of actors, but of two very different forces. Bruce was struck by Bolo's size and raw power. Bolo, in turn, admired Bruce's speed and precision. What began as curiosity soon turned into respect. They trained together between scenes, exchanging techniques, testing each other's skills, and laughing like brothers. For Bolo, Bruce was more than a colleague. He was a teacher who showed that cinema could be more than fighting on screen. It could be art. Their friendship grew in quiet moments, built on shared passion and mutual admiration. It was a bond that would leave an imprint on both men's journeys. Enter the Dragon. In 1973, Bruce Lee began work on a film that would change martial arts cinema forever. Enter the Dragon. Wanting authenticity and power in every scene, Bruce invited Bolo to join the cast. For Bolo, it was more than a role. It was the chance to stand beside a legend and show the world what he could do. The film's story of revenge, honor, and survival unfolded on a mysterious island. But behind the scenes, something just as powerful was happening. Bruce and Bolo spent long hours perfecting fight sequences, discussing movements, and shaping battles that would become iconic. Their styles were different, yet they blended like fire and steel. When the movie premiered, it shocked audiences. With a modest budget, it soared to global success, earning hundreds of millions. More importantly, it carved Bruce's name into immortality and gave Bolo his enduring nickname, Bolo. Though his role was that of a villain, his presence was unforgettable. Enter the Dragon marked the peak of their partnership, a single film that would echo through history. After the Dragon Fell. Only weeks after Enter the Dragon was released, tragedy struck. Bruce Lee was gone, his life cut short at the height of his power. For Bolo, the loss was more than the passing of a colleague. It felt as if a guiding light had vanished. Bruce had been a friend, a mentor, and a source of inspiration. The grief was heavy, but Bolo chose not to let it break him. Instead, he carried Bruce's lessons with him. The success of Enter the Dragon had opened doors to the world beyond Hong Kong, and Bolo stepped through them with determination. He kept training, kept acting, and kept pushing himself forward. Each role carried a shadow of Bruce's influence, a reminder of what he had learned from their short but meaningful bond. Though the dragon had fallen, Bolo's journey was just beginning. From loss, he found the strength to rise, building a path that would lead him into global recognition. Bloodsport and Hollywood glory. The late 1980s brought Bolo Yeung the role that would forever define him in the West. In 1988, he appeared in Bloodsport alongside Jean-Claude Van Damme. Bolo played Chong Li, the ruthless fighter whose presence dominated every scene. His towering physique, cold stare, and brutal moves made him a villain audiences could never forget.
This is Bloodsport, Double Impact, Enter the Dragon. Huge star.
The film's story of underground combat drew crowds, but it was the showdown between Van Damme and Bolo that burned into memory. The clash of their styles, Van Damme's speed against Bolo's power, created a cinematic moment that still stands among the classics of martial arts cinema. Bloodsport became a surprise hit, earning far beyond its budget and spreading across the world. For Bolo, it was the moment he stepped out of Bruce Lee's shadow and into his light. No longer just a supporting villain, he had become an icon in his own right. Hollywood noticed, and soon Bolo found himself working on new films, carving out a place as one of the most feared and respected screen fighters of his era. Family, legacy, and new roles. Fame carried Bolo Yeung far, but away from the cameras, he remained grounded in the family. He became a father, raising children who would also step into the worlds of sport and fitness. His eldest son, David, followed his path into bodybuilding and even stood on stage beside him in competitions. His daughter, Deborah, trained under David's guidance, while his youngest son, Danny, chose Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In each of them, Bolo saw reflections of his journey. At the same time, he continued to act, but his roles grew more varied. He was no longer limited to the simple villain. Directors began to trust him with complex characters, and he embraced the chance to show more than muscle. Whether playing a sorcerer, a fighter, or a mentor, he carried the same intensity that first brought him recognition. Bolo's career became more than personal success. It became a legacy, one built on strength, discipline, and the quiet hope that his children would carry it forward. Bruce Lee's hidden strength secrets. Behind Bruce Lee's lightning speed and legendary strength was a philosophy that set him apart. He was not only a fighter, but a relentless student, always searching for knowledge. He studied old strongmen, absorbed lessons from modern athletes, and filled his library with books on conditioning and power. One of his greatest discoveries was isometric training, where holding still positions built explosive strength without heavy bulk. It gave him balance, lean, fast, and devastatingly powerful. But Bruce's vision stretched beyond training. He believed no single style could hold the truth. From boxing, he learned footwork. From judo, he took grappling. From eskrima, he mastered weapons. He shaped these lessons into something new: Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. It was not a fixed style, but a path of freedom, a belief in adaptability and flow. For Bruce, the body was only a tool. The true strength lay in the mind, and in the will to move like water. Bruce Lee and Bolo Yeung met through film, but their connection reached far beyond the set. One carried the fire of speed, the other, the weight of strength. Together, they shaped moments that still echo in martial arts cinema. For Bolo, Bruce was not only a legend, but also a friend whose lessons never faded. Even decades later, he spoke of him with reverence, knowing there could never be another. Their bond was carved in sweat, respect, and shared vision. Though Bruce left too soon, his spirit lived on in Bolo, and in every fighter who followed.